Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Unit 3, Review A. Let's get to it. Describe the transformation of the function f of x equals 2 times the absolute value of x plus 4 minus 1 compared to its parent graph of f of x equals the absolute value of x. So, circle all that apply. Use the graph if necessary. So, I don't know about you, but I just like to graph these just so I can see a good picture of what it looks like. Now, I know we can just go through and do all of this, but I think it helps to graph it too. So the first thing I notice is this 2 up here. That 2 is telling me to go up 2 over 1. So if it's up 2 over 1, that means it's not negative, so there's no reflection. So B is going to be part of the answer. The next thing I need to do is look at my vertex. All right, I take the opposite of 4, which is negative 4, and then the negative 1 stays the same. So what that tells me is that I need to go left 4, and then I need to go down 1. So the left 4, that's D, so it's not going to be C. The vertical shift of down 1, and then that 2 that we talked about at the very beginning, that's our stretch, that it's a stretch of 2 units, okay? So all that apply, it's B, D, F, and H, okay? And now just to prove all of that to you, here we go negative 4, 1, and we're going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, we're doing that in both directions. And as always, we are going to graph. Use a straight edge. Oops. And there we go. Just remember, you can always use your graphing calculator as well to do this. It would be very, very helpful. All right, number 2. Identify the characteristics of the function g of x equals negative 2/3 times the absolute value of x minus 7 plus 1. So, vertex. Take the opposite of negative 7, which is 7, and the 1 stays the same. One thing I do notice right away is, yeah, that negative 2/3. That means we're going to be going down 2 over 3. Okay? So why don't we just graph it and then we can help figure out all the other questions or answer the other questions. So we said that this starts at positive 7, 1, which is up here. And then that we're going to go down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3, 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. That's right, both directions. Absolute value, that means it's going to make a V. Does yours make a V? Okay. There we go. So, is the vertex a max or a min? Well, look at the top. Oh, I can see the top. So if I can see the top, that means it's a max. So the average rate of change between the domain, remember, so these are our x values. All right, so let's just zoom in real quick. When x is negative 2, which is right here, and 4, which is right here, what happens? Well, I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. We go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 6. So 4 over 6, I always want to reduce. And when we reduce, we get 2/3. right, next one. Find the value of g of -5. So what that's saying is they're saying, hey, x is -5, what does y equal? So when x equals -5, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to draw my vertical line at -5, and boom, that's my point. What is this point right here? Well, x is -5 and y is -7. Okay, the next one, find the values of x. So if I don't know x, that must be they're telling me y. So y equals -1. So when y equals -1, there we go. And this time we've got 2 points. So what are those 2 points? Well, we have 4, -1, and then we have 10, -1. So we would say 10, comma, what was the other one? I'm sorry, 4. Sorry, we got to put these in order. 4 and 10. All right, and that's it for number 2. All right, number 3. We have to write the equation or inequality represented in the graph. So the most important thing that we always got to look at first is what is the vertex, okay? So the vertex is 2, 4. After we look at the vertex, I need to find my average rate of change. So I find another point where it crosses, and then I need to look, how do I get from point to point? Well, I go down 1 over 1, so -1 over 1 is -1. So as I start to write this, it's an equal sign because there's no shading. -1, but do you ever see -1 in front of the absolute value? No, you would just see the negative sign, which is showing the reflection. So x, I take the opposite of 2, which is -2, and then my 4 stays the same. Okay, so once again, the vertex is extremely important. Yes, I did an open point there because it's dashed. Okay, but we'll talk about that more in a second. So the vertex is -1, +2. I need to find another point, which is going to be right here. And to get there, I go down 1, 2, 3. So I went down 3 over 1. -3 over 1 is -3. Okay, and then the last thing we do, there's shading. So I got to figure out what symbol to use. So it's open, and we shaded above. So open and above is the greater than symbol. So we're going to say y is greater than -3 absolute value of x. Take the opposite of -1, and then my 2 stays the same. Okay, why don't you pause the video and see if you can do C on your own. Good luck. Okay, so it was closed and below, which means it's less than or equal to. From point to point, I'm going up 3 over 4, and my vertex is -1, -3. So the final inequality would be y is less than or equal to 3/4 times the absolute value of x plus 1 minus 3. All right. Identifying the characteristics of the function. So the domain. Remember that the domain is talking about all of the x values, and that is from left to right. There are no limits, there's nothing stopping it, so the domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, the range are our y values. Okay, that's going up and down. The range was left and right. Now, up and down, yeah, I definitely see a stop. Now our graph is all the way at the bottom, so that's negative infinity. It goes to negative infinity, and then all of a sudden it stops. And it stops directly at 4. So our range, we start at negative infinity, and then our graph keeps going to positive 4 where it stops. Okay, now increasing and decreasing, that's where we look at the left versus the right side. Okay, my left side is increasing. Okay, so I'm increasing on the left, and I'm starting at negative infinity, and then all of a sudden we stop increasing right here, and I stop increasing at negative 1. So now I'm looking where I start decreasing. Well, where do I start decreasing? I start decreasing at the same point that I stopped increasing. It's the right side that's going down. And it's going down from negative 1 all the way to positive infinity. Okay, last one. This is the part that I know a lot of people have trouble with. Where is our graph greater than 0? Is it greater than 0 on the top or on the bottom? Okay, well, it's greater than 0 on the top part up here. So I'm not looking at this at all. I just want to know, when is it greater? Okay, well, it starts being greater at negative 4. It stays greater all the way to 2. Okay, because that is where we are above 0. And we're above 0 from negative 4 to positive 2. Okay, so from negative 4 to positive 2. Well, so when are we below 0? Well, we're below 0 the rest of that time. I am below 0 from negative infinity, okay, negative infinity all the way over here, to negative 4. There's a break in our graph right here, because that's where it's above, and then I start being below 0 again from 2 to positive infinity. Okay? So we're below that entire time, because that's where our graph is down here. Okay? So from negative infinity to negative 4, there's a break, and then it's from 2 to infinity. Okay? When you're doing this, make sure you pay attention to which one is greater and which one is below, because sometimes they flip it around. Okay? All right. Well, we're just going to stop the video real quick. So this will be a 2-part video series. So this is the first page, Unit 3, Review A. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.